I just got home from a visit to Glock USA a few minutes ago to have a look at the new factory space that they're building up there in Smyrna and a couple of new guns that are coming out all before I head to Austria tomorrow morning. Great news for the 10mm gang. The Glock 29 is coming out as a Gen 5, and great news for all my viewers over 70 years of age. The Glock 30 is also coming out in Gen 5 45 ACP. This only makes sense considering 10mm, they're basically just 45 chassis guns with 40 barrels, to oversimplify it. Anyways, Glock has said that 10mm is not a fad, quite the opposite. The centimeter has been trending up a big way for Glock, so I would expect additional support for 10mm in the future from them. On top of that, the Glock 26 Gen 5 MOS, also a subcompact, was just released. So even though the 29 and the 30 aren't coming out as MOS, I know you guys are going to complain about that, and I get it, totally get it. They're not going to be launched when they come out next year as MOS versions right away, but I would imagine perhaps if they sell well, they might in the future. I got to shoot both guns at Glock's range, and I had the privilege of speaking with two of the best shooters I know, Shane Coley, captain of Team Glock, and the legendary Chris Edwards, longtime Glock instructor, affectionately known around HQ as Gen 1. Let's start with Shane, and then I'll take you to the range. Hey everyone, James Reeves, TFP TV here at Glock HQ in Smyrna, Georgia with my buddy Shane Coley. We are looking at a couple new additions to the Gen 5 line. The one I am very excited about, the Glock 29. We've talked about it. This is a gun that I use in the backcountry, carrying a fanny pack. I look good and I'm dangerous. With 10mm with hard casts, like, you know, that's what you're looking for in brown bear country. Works out great for that. And then you've got the Glock 30.
The Glock 30, yeah.
Not a big 45 guy. I haven't owned a 45 in probably 15 years, but...
Now's your opportunity.
Yeah, right? Okay, see, there we go. What a spokesman. What a spokesman this guy is. That's great. But, no, I mean, for me, just the 10mm, the utility of the 10mm has eclipsed and rendered obsolete the 45, in my opinion. We could talk about that if you want, but even looking at these guns, one thing you'll notice before we dive into the details is the 30 has a little bit bigger butt right there. Mm-hmm. You've got a magazine extension that you don't need with the 29 in order to get 10+1 rounds in each, because you're talking about a larger diameter, and you're still getting, I think, better performance out of the 10mm versus 45. But we won't get into the 10mm versus 45 wars just now. We'll leave it to them to do in the comments. Let's talk about the Gen 5s. We're going to see these after SHOT, right? Not
Correct.
now.
Okay, so SHOT Show this year, we launched the G20 and the G21. They were both very good launches for us, both 45 and 10mm, same as these. And now we're expanding the Gen 5 family, the lineup, into the subcompacts. So got the Gen 5 features on the G30, NDLC finish, GMB barrel front serrations, no finger grooves, and with the G30, you do have the larger base pad to help with the pinky and real estate on the grip. And with the G29, same features, but 10mm. And like James was saying, you know, there's always a debate between 10mm and 45. I feel like, not to disagree with you, but 45 is like the legendary round. It's been around for a long time. It's like, it's the iconic.
Who could
I got a
disagree
45.
with that? Yeah,
I have a 45, you know? But the 10mm, it's an extremely versatile round. You know, it's a great self-defense round, great for, as you said, backcountry, for hunting, for self-defense. Self-defense against a bear, God forbid that ever happens.
Yeah, sure.
But it's a very versatile round. And now with the expansion of the Gen 5 family, expansion of the 10mm and the 45, you have more options depending on how you want to use these, whether it be carry, self-defense, hunting. It just expands the options that are available.
And we do want to emphasize that these are not going to be released until SHOT Show 2024. You guys are just kind of going, you know, behind the scenes, off the record with me. Now, talking about the Gen 5 G29, and if you'll pardon the pun, bit of a bear to shoot. You know what I mean? It's you're talking about, especially with full power 10mm. This is a handful. Mm-hmm. However, I heard a story about a legendary shooter in the backwoods of California way.
This is right. This is true.
Putting on a little demo with a Glock 20. Tell me about if you've heard this story before.
So I was at a range called Rahagi's. It's a famous range in California, and was working an event out there. And one of my colleagues came up. There was a bunch of people around the booth. We were very active, we're very busy. And one of my colleagues came up and said, "We want you to run a demo with the G29 on a 15-yard plate rack." And I don't know how many of you guys have shot plate racks at 15 yards under pressure doing a demo, but it's kind of challenging. And then you bring in a subcompact 10 millimeter with good loads. It wasn't an easy feat. And I looked at the guy and I'm like, dude, you can't be serious. A G29, you could have given me anything else, a 34, 17, something that I'm used to shooting, but they wanted a G29 demo. So in front of a ton of people, under a lot of pressure, I had to shoot a plate rack 15 yards with the G29.
You pulled it off.
Somehow, miraculously, I pulled it off. I went 1-for-1 on the plate rack. It wasn't crazy fast, but I think under the circumstances and with the G29, I was very happy with it, and they seemed happy with it. So,
not very comfortable to shoot, but eminently shootable. It is.
It is, absolutely.
With some full power rounds in it, which is why I like it, because it's small enough. I can put it in a fanny pack. I can hike around with it. It's light enough where it's not really bothering me. Not nearly as big as the 20, right? And so I'm pretty pumped for it.
Well, like I said, the 45 is a legendary round. I give it, that's the way I classify it. Mm-hmm. But I still think the 10 millimeter is, in a way, making a resurgence. You know, it's a very, for many years, it was kind of a niche round. Mm-hmm. It was a very select group of people that were very into it. Mm-hmm. And I feel like as of late, the 10 millimeter round has been making a comeback. Not just a comeback, but a very significant comeback. So at the moment, I do think the 10 millimeter is going to be a very popular round, and I think it's going to do very well.
And I think this model is going to do very well. Last thing that I've got to ask you, well, I mean, of course, everybody wants to know, we've told them when, everybody wants to know MSRP, and I know everyone wants to know, you're going to kill me over this, they're going to want to know if they can get this in MOS. So let's tackle MSRP first.
MSRP is $647.
Optics.
Never say never, never say always.
Yeah, got it. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, look, Shane, I appreciate you being on the program. Thank you as usual. You always do a great job. You can tell you're really passionate about Glock, as am I, as you all know. And thank you all for watching. Guys, take care. We're bringing you more from Glock. As far as shooting experience, not a lot to say if you've shot a 29 or a 30 before. It's just the same gun wrapped in Gen 5 skin, which is great. It's updated. However, the Glock 29 and 30 are both kind of subcompact guns that are shooting pretty powerful rounds. So as you can imagine, they can be a bit peppy, a little sassy, if you know what I'm talking about. But you're getting 11 rounds in a gun that almost fits in your pocket, so I love it. I was at the range with a bunch of industry guys, including my buddy Roger from QVO Tactical. Seems like the consensus was the 30 was slightly easier to shoot than the 29, according to Chris Edwards. That's for two reasons. First, 10 millimeter, gonna be higher pressure than 45 ACP, and it'll just generate slightly more recoil. Second, as I mentioned in the interview with Shane, the Glock 30 magazines have a little pinky extension built in to give it that same 10 round capacity as the 29. The 29 doesn't need this extension since 10 millimeter is a smaller diameter round. Said it before, say it again. I think 10 millimeter renders 45 obsolete. I don't even think that's a hot take, except maybe in the case of suppression. It's just ballistically a better round. You get more capacity, and of course at your own risk. I'm not your lawyer, this is not legal advice, whatever, but every 10 mil that I've shot will also function with 40 S&W just fine. So there's some versatility and some subsonic options there. Yeah, it's disappointing that these aren't going to be optics ready right at introduction. However, I'm still very excited, especially about the Glock 29. It's not the most pleasant gun to shoot, but there's no replacement for displacement. I mean, it's a small gun shooting a large caliber, and it is still shootable. We took it out on the range, we shot at 10 yards, and I was putting all my hits, an entire magazine, at relatively rapid pace into like one of those maybe 6-inch round circles. Point being, as Shane said, would you rather shoot a match with a 9mm? Of course you would, but you can definitely get the job done accurately with a 29, and I wouldn't even classify it as brutal to shoot. It isn't like, oh my God, this is so uncomfortable. You just know it's a handful, right? Yeah, I wouldn't want my mom to shoot it, but it isn't like snappy. It doesn't hurt to shoot. It's just a lot of power. I've been pestering Glock for a 10mm Glock 36 for a long time. I don't think it'll ever happen, mainly because it probably won't be very successful, but a boy can dream. Speaking of dreams, I got to go to Glock USA, and I'm going back to Glock Austria tomorrow, all because of you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to our sponsors, Ventura Munitions and Top Gun Supply. all helping this boy's dreams come true. Thank you so much for your support of TFB TV over the years. Stay tuned. You know I'm bringing you more Glock content. Take care, guys.